Increased strain and tension is building up between China and Japan regarding the country's claim over the Diaoyu Islands, or also known as the Senkaku Islands. Now, recent evidence shows that both countries are upping their naval presence in the Pacific Ocean and making louder statements about their stances and naval prowess. Now, some analysts have said that tensions have become higher due in part to Japan's recent military activity around the islands, including holding various military exercises and celebrations of national pride. Japanese forces in the Japanese Sea went on as scheduled to hold various naval exercises and a review of its troops. Doing so, according to analysts, unavoidably caused China to question the intentions and purpose of conducting such exercises. On October 14th, the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force held a large-scale parade in Sagami Bay, Kanagawa, that included the participation of 48 ships and 45 aircrafts. The Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda, the Defense Minister, and other senior officials were all in attendance. Now, Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force parade is held once every 3 years, the last time being on October 25th of 2009, with the goal of improving the morale of forces by holding such large-scale and grandiose events. However, the timing of this parade doesn't bode well for relations between Japan and China. Let's take a look at a few comments from Weibo of this event.
Don't be under the impression that Japan is too weak, only if you can hold them on the ground. Is it too naive to ask them to negotiate? This is a disgrace. We just want Japan to at least admit that there is a dispute. However, Japan will not stop and are really leaving people at a loss. Japan has embarked on a circle, just delaying the negotiations. After many years, we're still being bullied by a small Japan. 100 years ago, our country was weakened, government left incompetent, and we took a beating that left us far behind. Today, it is still a small second Japanese invasion of China. We should clearly see the little tricks of Japan. They're not complying with us, concealing their strengths and confusing the international community for a long time. It's indeed the rise of the enemy.
Although not on such a grand scale, China has also been in the news as of late for the newest addition to its naval arsenal, the aircraft carrier Liaoning. Now, last week, the Liaoning was in the news for a picture that was released showing the landing of a war helicopter being landed on its flight deck. Now, Weibo comments and media speculated as to what this picture meant for the development of China's inexperienced aircraft carrier pilots and for the possibility of landing a more serious aircraft on the ship, namely the F-15. Now, although there has yet to be a disclosed landing of an F-15, another recently released photo shows a very low altitude passing of an F-15 over the landing deck of a Chinese aircraft carrier. The F-15 flew low to the ground of the landing deck, but it is evident from the photo that the tail of the plane never set down on the deck. Now, regardless, it is proof that the Chinese Navy is working diligently to complete a successful landing on the carrier and has not gone unnoticed by the Japanese government. Let's take a look at a few more comments on the photo.
China's so-called aircraft carriers are in service. They are certainly mighty scared. That's what people have been saying on Weibo. This is great! Please don't doubt the Chinese people's ability and appetite to bring about miraculous things. Hasn't there already been numerous cases in history for us of foreigners saying that it couldn't be done? Amazing! Military training. Let it come a little at a time. Just wait for when we're done with training, then don't forget to return the Diaoyu Islands to us.
Now, both these military developments are no doubt adding to the fire of tensions between the two countries, and the U.S. is catching heat from the flames as well. U.S. and Japanese military forces are set to hold the second phase of joint military exercises on a deserted island off of the coast of Okinawa. The exercises, which are scheduled to be held from November 5th to the 16th, will be held on Sand Island, 60 kilometers west of the main island, and approximately 10,000 military personnel are set to be involved. Japan's Senkai Shinbun reports that on its surface, the exercises are not particular to specific countries, but simply serves as a mock scenario of island defense from an imaginary enemy. However, Japanese Defense Ministry officials revealed that the purpose of the drill is, in fact, to prepare for the hypothetical scenario of an attack on the Diaoyu Islands by the Chinese army. Now, the goal of the drills are to simulate how the Japanese would go about seizing the island. Now, phase 1 of the exercise was held this past August and September for 37 days both in Tinian and Guam. Now, that phase also practiced island defense and involved the dispatching of a helicopter, landing crafts, and rubber boats, spanning the area from Okinawa to the waters between the Northern Mariana Islands of Tinian. Okay, let's take a look at a few comments about these exercises.
This is just preparation for war, merged with the belief of fighting for good sovereignty in order to have the ability to strengthen sovereignty, because Americans all believe and maintain this point of view. China should give up the policy of non-alignment. This principle has become a burden to our strategic security. We should advance relations, and I think a union with Russia would not be bad. To say that this is not directed at any specific one country is very harsh when in fact it is specifically directed towards China. The Yankees are playing tricks up their sleeves too. They think that the Chinese people are stupid. Haha, history is not a thing of the past. You still want to continue the Cold War? To try and contain China is just to smash yourself in the foot.
China is no doubt critical of the United States' participation in the conflict, especially given that it is participating in military exercises with Japanese forces. A recent publication by an American scholar has criticized China of the conflict as well, saying that its actions in handling the issue are acts of small stick diplomacy. Now, in the article, the author mainly refers to the issue of sovereignty of passage around the waters of the island for non-armed ships, such as fishing vessels and surveillance ships. China has fought to allow the passage of boats in the waters 12 miles outside of the Diaoyu Islands with the intention of using those rights to dispatch ocean surveillance ships to patrol the island, which it has already done. The scholar maintains that such exercises are ineffective methods of diplomacy because they only encourage the Japanese government to increase the military budget to be better prepared to deal with China. And obviously, China feels differently over the matter and feels it is important to continue to monitor the area around the islands. It's hard to tell exactly which side is causing the mutual increase of presence in the waters around the Diaoyu, but nevertheless, the situation seems to be becoming more volatile.